Okay, the file's gone cold, colder than the space between stars. But every case gets a final entry, and this is it. This is the last report on a racket so big it makes this whole planet look like some back alley deal gone very, very wrong. This is the uncanny anatomy of the gray.
You know, in the suffocating stillness of the modern midnight, this is the story that keeps us up. It's not your grandfather's horror story. This is about something that fell out of the sky and didn't just tell us we're not alone, it told us we're specimens.
So to crack this thing, you have to get this central thesis. The old Victorian ghost, it's packed its bags. It's done rattling chains in the graveyard. Now it's sitting in the cold, sterile cockpit of a flying saucer.
Think about it. Fear used to be simple, right? It was the creak of a floorboard in some haunted manor, the ghost of a past you just couldn't shake. But now it's the low hum of a craft hovering right over your roof. The dread isn't about history anymore. It's about technology. It's the phantom of the firmament.
Every cold case has a starting point, a first body. For this one, it's Roswell. But don't you dare think of it as just some simple crash. No, this was the inciting incident. This was the moment reality started to fray at the edges, like a curse falling on a family line, our family line, the whole human race.
All right, every case has its prime suspect, and it is time we got a good long look at ours. This is where it gets weird. This is the point where the familiar twists, where your own reflection in a dark window suddenly looks back with eyes that just aren't yours.
And you know, the key that unlocks this whole racket? He comes from a pretty unlikely informant, Sigmund Freud. He had a word for it, the unheimlich, the uncanny. It's that deep, primal shiver you get when you see something that is almost human, but it's just off. That feeling, that's the key to this entire case.
And here he is, our perpetrator, the Gray. It's a soul-stripped double of us, a fetus-like caricature of the human form. It's like looking into a distorted mirror that reflects all of our deepest evolutionary anxieties right back in our face.
The details in the file are chillingly precise. A spindly, pallid frame, rubbery skin that feels like the ash from a factory smokestack. I mean, this isn't flesh and blood like we know it. This is biological clockwork. It's a thing that's here to remind us that to colder, steadier hands, that's all we are too.
But the real horror, it's the eyes. They are not windows to a soul. Don't even think it. They're surveillance equipment. They're these vast obsidian orbs, two-barrel shotguns loaded with the void. They don't see you. They scan you, peeling you back layer by layer until there's nothing left but raw, exposed nerves.
Which brings us to the crime itself, the abduction. And forget everything you've seen in the movies. This is not some chaotic, violent attack. Oh no, this is a procedure. A cold, sterile, clinical inquisition.
The scene of the crime is always the same, and it's always the last place you'd expect, your own bed. The whole abduction plays out like some perverse pantomime of science. Your bedroom becomes a makeshift lab, and you enter a cataleptic trance, paralyzed, just like one of Edgar Allan Poe's doomed protagonists.
So here's the MO, step by step. First, a blue light floods the room. The target is frozen, conscious but completely unable to move. Then come the ritualistic surgeries. The source file actually calls it a sterile interstellar necrophilia, a macabre obsession with our flesh, a violation in the most private space imaginable.
So you have to ask, what's the motive here? Well, they're not conquerors. They're interstellar auditors. They're checking the books on our DNA, searching for a genetic code they themselves lost eons ago. It's this parasitic yearning, you see, to bridge the gap between their dying race and our vibrant, living blood.
But a violation this clean, this clinical, it leaves a whole different kind of evidence. And that's when the cleaners arrive. They come to wipe the cosmic fingerprints. They are the janitors of the impossible.
They show up in these slick black Cadillacs, humming with a sound like a funeral procession for a world that doesn't even know it's dead yet. They move through the scene like erasers on a chalkboard, and their one and only job is to make you forget.
And let me tell you, their description is just as unsettling as our first suspects. Suits as sharp and soulless as razor blades. Skin with the waxy, pale sheen of a corpse. And they don't walk. No, they glide with these jerky, artificial movements of a puppet. A motion that feels less like it's from another world
and more like it's from another time. Their mandate couldn't be simpler. Ensure the unexplained stays unremembered. They scrub the ozone scent of a visitation from the air and from your mind, until all that's left is the hazy, official story about a weather balloon. Yeah, right.
Now this is where the case gets really complicated. See, we've got two perps on the scene, the Phantom and the janitor. But what if they're working the same racket? What if they're just two sides of the same counterfeit coin? Let's just lay the facts out on the table. The Gray probes our body for a secret they lost in their past. The janitor probes our mind to bury that secret in our future. One is a ghost from the stars. The other, well, the other is a ghost of our own tomorrow.
Because here's the twist. The janitor is the ultimate uncanny figure. He's not just some government stooge. He's post-human. That unnatural movement, that waxy sheen, that is an alien. That's obsolete. He is us, in a future where our humanity, our very essence, has been hollowed out. He is the walking, talking dread of our own impending obsolescence.
Which brings us to the end of the file. But this isn't a case you can just stamp closed on and forget about. The legend itself has become this monument to the great unknown, a permanent fixture in our Shadowlands.
Because in the end, that's what they are. They are witnesses who won't talk and suspects who can't be caught. They're permanent fixtures in our collective unconscious now, a mirror to the shadow that has always been right there, standing behind us.
And that, my friends, is the final horror. Not that we're alone, but that we're being watched. That in this cold, industrial, godless universe, we're just subjects of a clinical gaze that never, ever blinks. A gaze with a patient, calculating hunger for the secrets hidden deep inside our very marrow.
So I'll leave you with one last question for the file. In this whole cosmic racket, with aliens probing our bodies and men from the future probing our minds, who is really the subject and who is the specimen? The case remains open.